I am going to put a kangaroo pocket on the front of a poncho. It's an asymmetrical poncho. And I use disappearing ink or ink mark be gone, and the disappearing ink will come off if you spray it with water, or eventually it just comes off in the air, and then the blue one has to be taken off in the air. So I have my little pocket, and I've already overlocked or serged the edges, and I need to trim my threads. And I stitched the pockets. This is the pocket opening. And I have my marks on here. They are placed where they would go if there was no seam allowance. So I have to kind of even it out in between the seam allowances. It looks strange because the whole poncho is asymmetrical. So I have to sort of make it even. And I don't use a lot of pins. Oh, what's going on? Doesn't feel like it's right. So for some reason I went too fast and put my mark in the wrong spot. So if I press on this, it'll show up over here, and that'll explain why it was wrong last time. Okay, so this makes sense now. Approximately. And that's much better. And so I'm going to make my top be even first. I also use silk pins, which are ballpoint, because there's less of a chance of making a hole in something where I don't want it to be. And I see that, I think that my stitching on my pocket is slightly different here, so that explains that. And since this is asymmetrical, if it is off by 1/4 of an inch, it should be fine. I have a little fold here, but I'll fix it while I'm stitching. One of my mentors would be very unhappy with me having that fold there, but okay, now I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine. So this is an industrial Juki. It has a clutch motor, so that's the humming noise. I'm going to get myself situated and do the top first. I always backstitch. I don't like to run over pins, so I get close and then I take it out. And I like to do double stitching because I think it makes it more secure. And now the other part. For a second there, I forgot that I didn't have a presser foot to lift. I had a knee lift. This is actually a needle feed machine, so that's why it's so easy to sew the knit, because the needle moves with the feed dogs underneath. And I have to be careful right here because I have this little fold in my fabric. I have to make sure that I don't make it as I'm stitching. So I usually do 1-2 stitches, and that makes it so that I'm a nice distance away from the other stitching. And then I do try to stay even, but the most important thing is that you don't make sudden moves, and then nobody can really tell if you're not completely even. Kind of like when you're driving. See, I'm a little bit closer than I want to be, but I will just gradually make it out where I want to be at the corner. And then when I get to here, I'm ready for my 2 stitches to finish. So far, I like my new setup.